From the campus at Johnson High School on the east side of St. Paul, we proudly welcome you to another edition of high school boys basketball. A top 10 matchup awaits us as the St. Paul Johnson Governors, number 2 in Class 3A, take on the Cretin-Derham Hall Raiders, number 8 in Class 4A. Greetings, everyone. I'm Mike Peden. My partner, Andrew Aanenson, will join me in the booth. As always, thank you for joining us. Two former conference foes. If you remember, Cretin-Derham Hall was once in the St. Paul City Conference. They, of course, have moved to the Suburban East since then. But very strong caliber teams that were on the opposite sides of upsets 1 year ago. Cretin-Derham Hall was on the front end of one when they knocked off Apple Valley in their section final last year en route to a semifinal appearance in the Class 4A state tournament. They lost on a buzzer beater to the Lakeville North and JP McCura in last year's bracket. Johnson was on the losing end. They have been to state for many years, but last year St. Paul Central had other ideas and pulled off the upset, one of the most shocking upsets in a series that have been dominated by the Johnson Governors. They've appeared to regain control of that and have run away in the St. Paul City Conference. As always, the reason for that is their balance. Jalen Mobley leading the team, averaging close to 20 points per game. But if you followed our coverage, you know Johnson's philosophy: never have one guy specialize too much. They love their balance, their depth. They never circle an opponent. In the minds of the players and the coaching staff, whoever they play next is the biggest game of the season. And supporting Jalen Mobley are folks like Andre Smith, Eric Elliott, and Justice Murphy. We'll talk more about them as the broadcast goes on. Cretin-Derham Hall, a more popular team, so to speak, getting a lot of appearances in national events. You saw them in the T-Wolves shootout. Their big guy, Sam Neumann, he's committed to Montana State next season. He's averaging 20 points per game, and Joe Rosga not far behind at 19.6. Donnell Gresham also chips in support offensively for the Raiders. Cretin-Derham Hall had a high ranking to start the season, suffered a bump with back-to-back losses to Mounds View and Champlin Park. Champlin Park number 1 in 4A, but since then they've rebounded. The only loss they've suffered in that span was against Hopkins, another top 10 team in 4A. This will be an exciting test and effective barometer for both schools as they look to establish momentum heading into the section playoffs. These schools won't play each other when we get to tournament time, but this will be a high-quality matchup. Starting lineups are coming up in a moment. Welcome back to Johnson High School. And Andrew, I'd say this is one of these marquee boys games on the schedule. And to be sure, there are a lot of events between Martin Luther King Day holiday tournaments, but an event like this where you get two top 10 teams should be exciting today.
It's going to be a very exciting game. You can already feel the atmosphere. The crowd's been building. Two powerhouses in the conferences. This is going to be a very good game to watch.
Let's take a look at the starting five for the visiting Cretin-Derham Hall Raiders. Joe Rosga, number 2, the 6'3" senior guard, will start, along with Sam Neumann, number 4, 6'6" senior forward. Number 22, Donnell Gresham, 6'3" senior guard. Number 24, Jordan Ammon, 6'4" junior guard. And number 44, Frank Delaney, 6'8" senior forward. Johnson, they will start. Number 3, Jalen Mobley, 6'1" senior guard. Number 5, Malik Jones, 5'10" senior guard. Number 11, Justice Murphy, 6'6" senior center. Number 21, Andre Smith, 5'11" junior guard. And number 24, Eric Elliott, 6'4", senior forward. Johnson has reached the state tournament 8 times in the last 10 years, and basketball fans still remember their undefeated campaign in 2010, finishing 32-0. And we'll never know who would have won between the two, but it was one of those years that folks felt disappointed because in a holiday tournament, Johnson defeated the 4A champion that year, Hopkins, and that was the only loss Hopkins suffered all season. You can't really, there's no sense in debating who the better team was because of the way the class structure is set up, but Johnson, to continue that level of consistency where they continue to get into state, even if they don't always have the most talented players, it says a lot about the program that they've instilled, where they've been in state for so long.
And they've inscribed a culture in this program. Like you said, 8 out of the past 10 years going to state. That's a very impressive resume for the coaching staff.
And Cretin will have a tough out. Apple Valley is number 2 in Class 4A, and we may have another showdown between those two schools when we get to that point, if we get to that point. The tip-off is underway, and so is this game. And it looks like Cretin will get it as the ball went out of bounds. And as you know, or as you can see, Johnson, not a lot of space on that baseline. So the officials will be dealing with very tight quarters. Jalen Mobley with the steal, going coast to coast, can't get the finish. Justice Murphy tried to get the O board. It's a dead ball rebound to the Governors, though.
Governors got a very well-rounded team. They got about 5 players scoring 10 points or more. Very physical, fast team. You can see it's already getting a little chippy down there.
And our first field goal of the game goes to Jalen Mobley, who has a shot at a 3-point play. Mobley, as we mentioned, in the open, he's close to 20 points per game. 19.1 is his total. Mobley and most of the other seniors getting a lot of looks at, well, they do not count the basket. I thought they did. But a lot of the other seniors are getting looks at the Division I junior colleges. Now, they're still waiting to see if a Division I school, a 4-year school, gives them an offer, but they've had a lot of talent go through here as Mobley completes the back end. A guy you are familiar with, Freddie Coleman, went to North Dakota State and now is a coach there.
Yeah, very familiar with Freddie. He's a good guy. He was a dominating player back in his day. He could play it all, basketball, football.
And Marcus Marshall recently transferred. He played at Missouri State, then moved over, and Malik Jones with the steal and the run. And now we have our first field goal. The Raiders have it. Corner 3, bullseye, Janelle Gresham. Gresham averaging 10.3 a game. Doesn't shoot that well from 3, just 23%. But he gets Cretin on the board here.
It's a very good look, spot up 3 in the corner.
Elliott, elbow jumper is high. And the rebound by Gresham. Now that is where Gresham can excel. And he's gonna go on the move, but nothing doing, and he did not get back in bounds in time.
You can already tell a couple minutes in this game, it's gonna be a very up-tempo game. Both these teams are quick in transition.
Well, they're used to playing top-level competition. Considering their location, these two schools not too far apart from each other. Cretin-Derham Hall in St. Paul. Frank Delaney with the pull-up J.
Smooth stroke.
Cretin-Derham Hall right along Randolph Avenue and Johnson, as you know, on Arcade Street. And Cretin, are they gonna wait for help? It looks that way. Gresham off the screen. No 3 this time. And Eric Elliott with the board. Elliott bouncing over to Jones. And we're tied at 5.
It's a very good pass, touch pass, right in the cookie.
Rosga on the attack.
Physical finish.
3-point play opportunity. Rosga, 19.6 points per game, 83% free throw shooter, and he's shooting about 45% on the season, 46%. 52 inside the arc, 41 outside.
Yeah, he can light it up. He's a very good player. More than 4 assists and rebounds per game.
And the Raiders take an 8-5 lead. As you see some of the folks who played in our earlier games, this is the last game in the East Metro Showcase. Jalen Mobley looking to put on a showcase, but comes up short on the rim. The Central Minutemen hung around, of course, their conference rivals with St. Paul Johnson. Central defeated Columbia Heights in the first game today on a buzzer beater 3. Johnson forcing the steal. Malik Jones is blocked by Gresham.
Gresham is very high energy. He's all over the court. He's got a block so far, transition bucket.
Gresham doesn't get many blocks. And we have our first substitution for the Governors. It's number 21. And a near steal, but Cretin ran out of real estate. Number 21, no, that's Andre Smith. I thought they subbed him out, but not yet. But it is common for Vern Simmons to put in several of his guys in the first half. And the year they won state, they credited their depth, being able to play 11 or 12 guys at any given point.
He likes to spread the butter. He's a very good coach. He knows what he's doing.
Neumann, open. No. Battle for the board, and it goes to nope, that's Andre Smith. Counted and the foul for Malik Jones.
What body control, what a finish. That was pretty.
That was set up by Eric Elliott. I'm gonna get the names and numbers settled eventually. Eric Elliott set up Jones, and now Malik Jones, who averages 9.8 a game. Johnson's 5 starters, as we noted in pregame, all averaging roughly 10 points or more.
And they spread the butter at Johnson.
Malik Jones is up to 7. We're tied at 8. Rosga to Neumann. Inside to Delaney. The entry pass is stripped by Murphy, and he throws it right back to the Raiders. That leaves Rosga open for 3. Off the heel, no good. Mobley with the rebound, showing his vertical. Jones has a lane, but too strong. Gresham has it now, and he gets contact from Eric Elliott. That will be a foul. Elliott's first.
I like that foul. You don't want an easy, fast break point. Let's set up the half-court defense. Very good foul by Johnson right there. Heads-up play.
And I don't believe we have the clear path rule at this level. Cedric Clark is going in for the Governors. He wears number 33.
The tempo of this game so far is very fast-paced. I like the refs are letting them play.
Rosga tried to skip to Delaney, deflected by Johnson, goes to the backcourt, so Cretin can retrieve it without turning it over. Gresham will reset, but he loses the handle. Gets control. Delaney, turn around, can't get the hook. The rebound ends up in Rosga's hands. Many skip passes, and Rosga stripped. Neumann, no foul called. That was close. I thought there may have been enough to warrant one, but the officials let it go. Reverse, no good. Elliott can't get the cleanup. That's number 2, Savion Benson for the Governors. Rosga, wow, the officials are letting them play.
The refs are letting them play. This game is...
And the outlet pass too high. I have never seen so much contact allowed in the opening minutes of a contest.
Now, you would think this is a football game with all this contact going on. These kids are going at it.
How do you think that might influence how the players approach this, if the officials are going to call it loosely?
Well, their attitude better stiffen up because they know that this game is going to be hard. It's no softness allowed, so they better put the chin strap on and let's go to work.
At least so far, if there's any doubt on whether or not a foul is warranted, the officials are letting it go. So at this point, you're going to have to make it pretty clear. We'll see if that holds up. Gresham, top of the key. That's a second 3.
He's got a great stroke.
So this guy who only shot 23% entering this game, showing his range so far. Step back, Jay, no good from Mobley. And the rebound goes to Rosga. Cretin with an 11-8 lead, 12-18 left. As you know, Cretin-Derham Hall, once 2 schools. You had the Cretin School for the boys, Durham Hall for the girls, and In 1988, the two schools became one. Since then, they've been known as Cretin-Derham Hall. Neumann, skip pass to Gresham for three. He's 2 for 4 from behind the arc. How about Neumann? Oh, he had a great strip and nothing to show for it. Clark on the run, and he'll shoot 2.
That boy, lightning quick. He got down on the end of the floor.
You look a little speechless over there.
Yeah, this game is very up-tempo. The refs are letting them play. If I was a player, I would love that. It's just like on the blacktop courts.
At the same token, you do wonder how emotional it might get. Because if they're going to let them play, you know the players are going to factor that into their consideration.
Yeah, if I was a player, I don't want to lose my cool. You don't want to ever lose your cool in a game. Something can go wrong, technical, cost your team some points.
Sweat equity is going to be an understatement in this one. Clark averaging 4.4 a game, comes up empty. And Johnson with a 1 of 4 start from the free throw line. Cretin in transition, and the block from behind by number 4, Carlin Clark.
That was a very good block. I thought he was going to have the easy layup. Johnson's doing a very good job of suffocating the driving lanes.
Also on the floor for the Governors, Derek Siedschlag, number 34. Rosga, short on the 3. High Karam goes to Gresham. Gresham through the lane and in.
That was too easy for him.
Gresham with 8. And Clark is hacked. And they'll give him the shooting foul.
Very good play by Johnson. They're looking to get to the rim. Every play, they're attacking the basket. And you got to like that if I was Coach Simmons.
Raiders with a 5-point lead. And much is known about Johnson basketball, but their hockey team having a resurgence of sorts. And the Governors were actually a featured participant in last weekend's Hockey Day in Minnesota.
Oh, good for Johnson hockey.
And they came away with the win over Luverne.
I remember back in our high school days, our high school didn't even really have a hockey team, did they?
And hockey's still not prevalent here in the cities. Minneapolis just has one school, and there are 3 in St. Paul. But there's no conference as Cedric Clark gets on the board. But Johnson having a rough go from the free throw line unofficially, 2 of 6.
Yeah, they're not hitting their free throws, which could cost them.
Well, it's still early, plenty early, but something to keep an eye on. Now, of course, you had a chance to see this Cretin team in the T-Wolves shootout. They defeated North Scott in that contest. We've got Neumann inside off the feed, and he gets the fadeaway putback.
Relentless on the offensive boards.
Neumann, I guess, wanted to up the degree of difficulty there. 3, bullseye. Andre Smith on the board.
And he was parked in that corner like he was a stop sign.
15-12 in favor of Cretin-Derham Hall. And you may know that the school served as an inspiration for one of the Mighty Ducks movies. If I recall, I believe it was a filming location. The Cretin-Derham Hall campus.
Yeah. Was that D1? The first Mighty Ducks?
The third one.
The third one, yeah.
When they were in high school. And here's Mobley. Well, he tried to sell the foul. The officials wouldn't buy it. They leave Cretin alone. And that leads to a fast break deuce for number 21, Chris Perry. 3, no. Neumann, skip to Gresham, and I thought the block was clean, but instead it's a foul on Eric Elliott, his second. That gives me a chance to catch my breath and get some of these players in.
I like the up-tempo-ness that Cretin's they're continuing to play with.
Well, to finish up that, I believe the school, not that it's unconfirmed, but the school's name, Eden Hall, was an amalgam of Cretin-Derham Hall and Eden Prairie, who were two known powers at the time in hockey.
I did not know. That's very interesting. The Mighty Ducks movie is a classic.
At the line is Gresham.
Coach Bombay, right? Coach Bombay.
The Flying V. Different surface today, though.
It's too bad hockey's not more relevant in the St. Paul Conference. We're the state of hockey here.
Well, they produced a lot of basketball talent, though. And Donnell Gresham makes both free throws, and 68% free throw shooter coming into this game. And the Raiders, with a 19-12 lead, they've slowly padded it to 7. Mobley, the drive, he was disrupted, and that leaves an open Andre Smith, who hits the long deuce.
He's got no hesitation in his shot. If he's got 1 second, he's releasing the shot.
Of course, you also know Cretin-Derham Hall, the alma mater of Joe Mauer, who was a 3-sport athlete. Carrying violation on Gresham. Mauer, known for baseball, of course, also played football, won a state title there, and also a solid basketball player.
Yeah, Joe Mauer could do it all. I remember our sophomore year, we played them guys in football, and I'm not even going to say the results, but you can obviously imagine it wasn't too well.
They've also sent a lot of football guys. Michael Floyd was one of them, now playing in the NFL.
With the Cardinals, yeah, he's a very good kid. Central Henderson, the right tackle for the Buffalo Bills.
They all got their start wearing the purple and gold. Gresham faking the 3.
And 1.
Count the basket for Chris Perry. Perry, 5.2 points off the bench. Not a great free throw shooter, but not a bad field goal shooter, 47.6.
And those inside shots you want, those are the shots you want to take. Feed off contact, nice finish.
Cretin calls timeout. With 8:39 left, they hold an 8-point lead. I'm a little perplexed that they're the ones calling a timeout here with the 8-point lead, but so far they've been more successful in establishing the transition game.
Yeah, they're moving at a very fast pace. They've forced unofficially 3 turnovers so far, and I don't know if they've yet to commit 1. So they're doing the right things so far early in the game. Hopefully it can continue for Cretin-Derham Hall. And this timeout could be more of a let's keep locking down on defense type thing. Up 8, you never really see this kind of a timeout, but I think it's a good move by the coach. He just wants to make sure his team's on the same page. Every bucket counts.
Well, so far, for anyone concerned about fatigue on the back end of a back-to-back, that hasn't come into play. Cretin-Derham Hall played a night game last night at Forest Lake, won convincingly 80-42.
And I believe Johnson was scheduled to have one, but it got canceled.
Well, it was originally going to be against the Wisconsin teams. Of course, the Johnson-Cretin game was in place for a while. But Cretin very much in the thick of it, though. I mentioned in the open those back-to-back losses. They were not by much. The Champlain Park game was a 65-62 decision, and Moundsview was a 6-point loss. So Cretin could very much change those outcomes if they were to have more meetings. And a traveling violation on Eric Elliott. Johnson turns it over with 8:20 left in the first.
And if I'm Cretin-Derham Hall, that timeout worked because that defense on that possession was stifling. All 5 heads were at where they should be looking at the ball.
Cretin biding their time. The skip pass was deflected. Jordan Ammons coughs it up. Mobley, bounce pass, and the three on the way, bullseye. Savon Parker with his first field goal, and Johnson, as we've noted, they send a lot of guys out. They already have sent 10 players on the floor.
Yeah, they love the three-point shot. Over half their points are ready from the three.
Gresham for the answer. Yes.
Right back at you.
Gresham with his third tray. Feeling it today here at the east side of St. Paul. Smith faking, and Parker again. Can't put it in. Gresham with the rebound. And well, let's see what happens.
I think they call it a loose ball foul?
That's it. It's a loose ball foul on Jalen Mobley. His first personal foul. Neither team in the penalty yet. Seven minutes to go in the first. Raiders up by 8. Seeing a few more set plays now. Tempo slowed down a bit. Rosga from the wing, that rims out. And Murphy comes up with the board. He'll get it to Mobley.
I'm very impressed with the Cretin-Derham Hall's defense so far, and they're stifling the Johnson.
Smith to Murphy. Murphy can't get the hook shot to fall, and Delaney with the board. Jerry Klein Jr. uttering his command. Raiders have been featured in a lot of these statewide events this year. Delaney, baseline J is too strong. Parker with the rebound. Skips it to Benton. And the foul on the Raiders.
Yeah, that was not the shot that Cretin-Derham Hall wanted. Very good transition by Johnson. They got one thing in mind so far. They're getting to the hole.
Fouls on Ammons, his second. And finish up on Cretin's statewide recognition. That Champlain Park loss was part of the Breakdown Tip-Off Classic at Minnetonka. Of course, we noted the T-Wolves shootout. And before the season is out, they will take part in the Breakdown Border Battle, which actually will be hosted at Cretin-Derham Hall when they take on Stevens Point.
It's always good when kids can get out there and face out-of-state teams. And
well, we're seeing the trend in college, and it's trickling down here to high school. Getting his own miss was Benton, and that's going to be off the backboard and a dead ball rebound to the Raiders. It's starting to trickle down more often here at the high school level, where these top teams, especially in the bigger classes, are being called up for these neutral site games.
yeah, when that happens, you don't have obviously home court advantage. So it is the better team on that given day usually pulls out and wins.
Well, at the college level, it's become so prominent that it's getting some opposition now, because it takes away from those meaningful home games that schools used to have. At the same time, it's a way of getting these schools to a big audience. And here's the steal by Benton. And Vern Simmons is going to call a timeout, sensing that was Parker, I should say. Parker was in trouble and trapped in that no man's land area at the half-court stripe.
Yeah, very good defense by Cretin. The Johnson forced a turnover, but they were right back at it. And it seems like they take every play one play at a time. They're not hanging their heads that they just turn the ball over. They're right back at it, and it's a turnover.
But the neutral site games, and it's not overflowing here at the high school level. because you still get a lot of solid home games. But it's a trade-off. I mean, you get to play in front of a big audience, a T-Wolves shootout. You get to play in front of all those scouts. And at the same time, you do enjoy going to your home confines.
Yeah, very much so. You always love home field advantage, but those neutral site games gives other people a chance to look at you and see how you are, see how you can play the game.
Well, Cretin has participated in the last 2 T-Wolves shootout events.
Up and under.
Jalen Mobley with his first field goal, and let's see if that gets Johnson out of their rut. They trail by 6, 25-19, with less than 5 to play in the first half.
It's a very good finish. They got good finishers on Johnson.
Oturu to Gresham. Thought about the 3, instead goes to Rosga, who fires and drains it.
So far, Cretin-Derham Hall's ball movement has been really on point.
Whoa, deep 3, pure!
NBA range.
Andre Smith. He's up to 8, and if you've got that kind of shot, defenses aren't always scouting. They only go so far out.
Yeah, he's got no hesitation. He's a very confident ball player.
And that's going to be a foul on Savion Benton. Made a little too much contact with his assignment. Johnson now out of fouls to give.
I'm going to look for these last 4 minutes to Cretin-Derham Hall and attack the basket.
Rosga fakes the drive. Neumann pump fakes the 3. Now goes to the lane and gets the roll.
Very good finish.
Neumann with only 4 points, but they haven't needed his offensive productivity yet. Smith bouncing over to Murphy. Oh, they got a little too fancy there, and Murphy hit with the offensive foul.
He's got very good IQ. He knows exactly where to be at the right time. And he doesn't force he doesn't force the shot.
Sam Neumann exploded it last year in Cretin-Derham Hall's game against Bettendorf at the T-Wolves shootout. Went for nearly 40, and Justice Murphy picking up his 3rd personal foul. That could limit his, well, we're not going to see him for the rest of this half, and his minutes in the second half could be limited.
Yeah, that's huge for Johnson.
Murphy averaging 10 a game. And Johnson doesn't have a whole lot of height in the post. Murphy, their tallest player. Neumann, deep 3. That's too high. Battle for the rebound, won by Clark. Clark, coast to coast, comes up empty.
Stays Johnson.
3:06 left in the first half.
Yeah, Johnson's a little undersized, but they got great leapers and great energy. And when you don't have the size, that's what you need. You need leapers, you need energy. They're going to be relentless on the boards.
James Jackson. Goes in for the Raiders.
Good entry pass. Oh, denied.
Delaney with the block, goes right back to Eric Elliott. Kick ball, it will stay here. Mobley can't get the roll, and that's going to go out of bounds.
A little confusion on the refs right now.
Watch out, those courts can be trippy. Meanwhile, they rule Johnson ball. And we don't have a video review of this, so even though we've got cameras rolling, they can't come up here and ask to look at the tape.
No, sometimes it's which coach is more convincing in the referee's ear. Everybody's saying it's my ball. No, my ball.
You see Chris Perry trying to make the case that Johnson made the deflection. Instead, it's a dead ball offensive rebound. And Jerry Klein still looking for an explanation. Johnson running a set of their own now. Clark draws a foul. That was Cretin's last to give.
I don't see too much screen action from Johnson. Maybe they might want to get some pick and rolls going, free up the lanes.
Fouls on Jackson, his first. .243 left in the first half. Cretin-Derham Hall up 30-22 over Johnson.
A lot of contact on that. Good take.
Maybe a bit of an acting job as well for Jalen Mobley, but he gets a foul and will shoot 2.
And fortunately for him, there's no fouls for flopping. That's an NBA. It's something ridiculous sometimes how that's the flopping gets.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say he flopped. There was contact, but
yeah.
Mobley helped sell it a bit.
Yes, very much so. But what I'm trying to get at is, like, you know, some of the big guys, like, they won't even get hit and they'll fly 10 feet. It's like,
you won't see that here with this Johnson team. I mean, they'll do their part, and every team is going to try to sell a foul if they feel one is warranted, but you're not going to see the Johnson kids trying to flop their way to a whistle.
No, so far I'm very impressed. They're a very physical, tough team. You know, coming from St. Paul myself, I know how the neighborhoods usually are, so you got to be tough or you're not going to go very far.
And this team kind of rededicated themselves, in a sense, after last year's upset.
Lane violation.
So wipe
Jinx
away
personal
that free
jinx.
throw.
You ever play that Jinx game? You say something simple. Jinx personal. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, it wipes away a point, so Johnson only gets 1 out of that trip. But I spoke with the coaching staff briefly before the game, and he mentioned, and Colin Moore, the assistant coach, discussed how the loss to Central served as a reminder of not to overlook an opponent. And so they've worked hard over the summer. And again, it's a philosophy. They put in the work. They don't make a big stink about it. Gresham, that's going to be an offensive foul.
Very proper call by the refs that are on top of that. You can see he lowered his shoulder. He tried to get to the lane.
And that's the second on Donnell Gresham. But, you know, Johnson had been to state for 5 years in a row. Then you lose to Central. For a team that was accustomed to going to state and a team that had dominated that series, Central and Johnson in the same section, that was a reminder for them that, you know, they still have to treat every game as if it's their first one.
Yes, it brought him back down to earth. Good finish.
Eric Elliott goes baseline.
But it brought him back down to earth and make him more humbled. You know, we can't overlook anyone. It's not going to come for free. We got to work hard at it.
And even though their offense is up from last year, they still don't believe they have found their identity. And that being a very balanced, disciplined.
Good pass.
Oh, but Rosga couldn't finish. Low maintenance group. Smith was faking the 3. He'll kick out to Mobley. Some more passing around the perimeter. Andre Smith to Mobley. Mobley to the baseline, reverse. Gets his own miss. No, Elliott with a cleanup.
They played the tip game there.
Johnson has trimmed the deficit to 3, 30-27 with 1:11 to go in the first. Rosga bounce pass, and the block from behind by Elliott. It goes to Neumann, and he gets the reverse.
What a finish. This kid's a playmaker.
Neumann up to 6. Winning in style points, though. Johnson, let's see what they do here with 45 ticks. I don't think Cretin's going to let them pull for the final shot.
Good
what
pass.
a nice no-look dish Actually, there was a clean look. But Cedric Clark set up the fake. Eric Elliott is there in the backside.
What a find. He did it all in one motion. Very impressive move. Cuts it down on one possession game.
Johnson has faked the Cretin-Derham Hall a few times here. Gresham not going to wait. Three-pointer rattles out, though. And Johnson has a chance to tie it with a three. Instead, they go baseline. Elliott missing the jumper. Cretin with time, 5 seconds. Rosga showing his speed, gets the bounce. And Cretin-Derham Hall will end with a field goal. Rosga up to 8. And the Raiders with a 34-29 lead over the Governors. A very fast-paced first half for the two squads.
If you're a basketball fan, you love that first half. This up-tempo. These kids are out here playing. Hey, this is no boys. These are men right here playing, folks.
And how about that A-plus execution at the end of the first?
Yeah, what a way to end the half. Two-possession game, up and under move. Fantastic finish.
We will pause and go over stats and analysis. This is high school boys basketball. The East Metro Showcase, Johnson and Cretin-Derham Hall. Welcome back to Johnson High School, the nightcap, our feature game in the East Metro Showcase. The Johnson Governors and Cretin-Derham Hall Raiders. Mike Peden here with Andrew Aanenson. Cretin-Derham Hall with a 34-29 lead, led by 13 points from Donnell Gresham. A bit of a surprise when you consider who the leading scorers are. Joe Rosga has 8 and Sam Neumann has 6. Chris Perry has 5. Those are your notables for the Raiders. Johnson, Andre Smith has 8. Malik Jones has 7. Eric Elliott has 6. Those are your notables from that end, but it may come down to the transition game. Cretin doing slightly better in that category in the first half.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with how their transition game is working. They're not settling for one shot. They're trying to do every shot the best shot, which is what you want from any ball club.
And in the case of Neumann, I had a chance to look up his profile. Neumann has athleticism in his genes. His father played at Minnesota Duluth. And there's a deflection by Delaney that goes to Gresham. And Newman's older brother played college ball at Wofford.
So he's got it in his DNA. He was born to be a ball player.
And as we've noted before, you don't have to go to those big D1 schools to make an impact, especially with the talent, how much talent has protruded in men's basketball.
Yeah, there's a lot of kids overlooked because they don't go to the high-profile schools, but they can still ball out.
Until they get those upsets in the tournament. That's a traveling violation on Rosga. The double team works to perfection there. You know, when you get those upsets, then folks pay attention to you. George Mason comes to mind. Butler.
VCU.
To the point where they're no longer considered small potatoes anymore.
That's how Boise State was in football, and now they're one of the better teams. But if I'm Cretin-Derham Hall, I want to continue what they did in the first half. Their defense, they did a very good job. Both these teams play with a lot of passion and energy. And regardless of the outcome, that's exactly what you want from the teams.
You mentioned Boise State. I wonder what this place would look like if you had a maroon or blue court or something. Much like Boise State's blue turf.
I'd have to think it would add something to the home court advantage.
Donnell Gresham is red hot. 15 points after that last basket. And a dead ball rebound to the Governors. If you haven't figured out by now, they're wearing the maroon jerseys and Cretin-Derham Hall wearing the white. And a lot of players in attendance. I see a few Como Park players at this game, and among them was Andrea Adams, who recently got to 2,000 points. We'll stay here with Johnson. I had the chance to do a feature on Adams and got to know her folks quite a bit. And
good for him. 2,000 points is a big milestone.
He's a she.
Oh, you
Andrea
talking about
Adams.
The Como Park player, correct?
Yes.
Yes, okay, I'm sorry about that. My apologies.
Well, let's talk about the steal by Gresham. No finish, but Rosga's there. Probably the easiest putback you're going to get all game. He's up to 10. Raiders up by 9. Elliott on the drive and one.
What a finish. Maybe that could spark this Johnson team.
Free throws a big difference. Cretin-Derham Hall, I had him at 3 of 3 unofficially. Johnson 3 of 8 in the first half. That might have to change. The foul's on Delaney, his second personal. Eric Elliott, 10.7 points per game.
He's very lengthy, long arms.
He completes a three-point play. Johnson applying full court press. Delaney in trouble, finds an open Neumann to Rosga. Counted on the foul.
What a finish. This Cretin-Derham Hall team, their motive is they want to get to the rim. That's where they make their money.
And when Rosga's not scoring, he's distributing very well, averaging 4.5 assists per game, 4.5 boards. So he gets it done in the other elements outside of scoring. Lead goes back to 9, pass to Murphy, not read by the center. But Johnson gets the turnover right back.
What a play. Clean block.
And that's Delaney's third.
They called a foul on that, huh?
Yes, Delaney's third personal foul.
Well, he did leave his feet, so you can't ever question that.
Right, you left his feet. You're not going to get those calls if you leave the ground. So Mobley to the line for 2. Still having some trouble. And a lot of these guys, returning from last year's team, Pierre Conwell was the leader of that group. But the thing with Johnson, we've noted, again, you're not going to necessarily get 25 points per game, but you're going to become a better basketball player. And these guys have a very dedicated regimen. So every year when I speak to the coaching staff, they talk about how these younger guys, when they move up into those roles that their upperclassmen departed, they get better and they're more prepared for it.
Yeah, with leadership comes more responsibility. And when players get that, they want to step up and prove that they can step up to the plate, and most of them do. And that's when they become that next level type of player.
Andre Smith hit with a foul. Joe Rosga to the line. He's at 13.
It's a lot of people to see this game. This place is packed. It's a great atmosphere. You got two powerhouse teams like this. They're not going to back down, either of them.
Word gets out. Rosga makes both free throws. Cretin a perfect 6 of 6.
Possession arrow to Cretin.
And they have their largest lead of the game at 10, 43-33 with 15:57 left in the second half.
If I'm Johnson, I might want to think about a full court press coming up here, because this 10-point lead can easily dwindle into more.
Well, and even if Johnson suffers a loss here, and again, they've only had 2 of them, both the 4A schools, so even if they don't come out victorious in this, it wouldn't have any bearing in their standings. But as I said, they're not going to get too deflated about it.
No, not at all.
Because of how disciplined they are.
Yep. They take one game at a time. They don't hang their hands out at all. Very confident.
Like we said, the most important game of the season is the next one on the schedule.
And that's so cliche, but they really live by that motto, which is great to see. Good defense by Cretin, leads to transition.
Neumann, hooping the hard.
And the extra. He kind of fed into that contact. He slowed down. It looked like he had a motive. He wanted to get that extra.
Trying to get that extra point.
Yeah. Very heads-up play. His IQ was off the charts. It's not all about the scoring sometimes, but he has proved that he can do it. He can pass. He set screens. He got a charge earlier in the game. This kid's a good player.
Neumann averaging 6.5 rebounds and 4.1 assists to go with his 20 per game. Cretin's first miss from the free throw line, but they pad their lead to 12. Elliott bouncing to Murphy, and Justice Murphy finally gets on the board. Again, minutes have been limited due to foul trouble. Cedric Clark tried to anticipate, almost got the steal.
Very heads-up play by Johnson. Almost had it. They're on-ball defense right now. They're trying to suffocate Cretin.
So we'll try this again. Neumann for three. Bullseye.
Butter.
Neumann, the third player to enter double digits for the Raiders. He has 11. Mobley with the answer.
Answers right back. Big bucket for Johnson.
Mobley to 8. 48-38 the score in favor of Cretin-Derham Hall. Neumann.
What a pass.
To Oturu, no, but he gets his own miss. No putback, gets another rebound, goes up again, still comes up short. Mobley with the rebound. That's tough for Oturu, he was right there. Mobley off the window and in.
Very good finish by Johnson.
5 quick points for Jalen Mobley. 48-40. Johnson has threatened a couple of times, got it to within 3 late in the first half. Neumann used up the dribble, goes to Gresham, skip to Rosga. And they get Mobley on the reach-in.
Foul occurred before the shot, I believe. So
Johnson only has one more to give. Jordan Aanenson will go back to the floor, replacing Oturu. And the foul is Mobley's third personal. Well, Mobley's going to have to be careful because we still have a lot of time. 13:56.
Cretin's size is becoming a problem for Johnson inside. I don't got the rebounding totals, but
they've been crashing the boards for sure. Ammons out to Rosga. Great
wide
ball
open
movement.
shot.
Leads to a triple for Gresham, his 4th. And a timeout called, I believe, by Cretin.
Very good ball movement by Cretin right there. When you're moving the ball the right way, there's going to be a wide open, somebody's going to have an open shot. And they're finding the open person right now. If I'm the coach of the Cretin-Derham Hall, I could be.
What do you think of this strategy of Jerry Klein Jr. calling timeouts after a Cretin score?
I actually like it. He just wants to make sure his team is going to clamp down on defense. They want to keep their foot on the pedal. They don't want no easy buckets. Two different demeanors by the coaches. Coach Simmons is not really much of a yeller, opposite of Cretin-Derham Hall.
Well, Vern has always been a very cool, collected individual. Carries that same stoic personality in every game, and I think that helps embed the philosophy of taking every game as if it's your first one. And he knows there's a lot of time left. They're down by 11, but that margin can close in a hurry, but not like that. Gresham with the steal and the finish.
Coast to coast, what a finish.
Savon Parker might want that one back, and the lead is now 13. (53-40). Elliott drains the 16-footer.
Good stroke. Wide open shot, that's what you want for Johnson.
Neumann, kick out, Rosga for 3. Off the heel. High rebound goes to Andre Smith. Johnson has numbers if they can push. Smith with the roll, yes.
That's their strength, transition game. They can run for days.
53-44. Neumann in transition, buries the three.
Sweet stroke.
Neumann up to 14. Mobley, foul before the shot.
Every time Johnson seems to get a little bit of momentum, Cretin-Derham Hall is right there to answer.
The foul is on Aanenson, his third. Aanenson has not scored in this one. Cretin-Derham Hall, most of their scoring has come from perhaps their big three, Rosga, Neumann, and Gresham. Gresham with 20, Neumann with 14, Rosga with 15. Murphy on the baseline, turnaround, that's going to be short. And Delaney using his frame, all 6'8", to get the rebound.
It's a good rebound, he snatched it. Sometimes you get a rebound, but then you got to snatch the rebound. It's a big difference.
Delaney only averaging 5.4 boards a game, but again, defense is a shared responsibility for the Raiders. Cretin now running their set. Neumann, NBA range again. Last touch by Delaney.
Endurance is a big part in this game. Some of these kids play the whole entire game. That has to take a toll as the minutes dwindle down.
Especially in the big ones. And it's no different even at the college or professional ranks. Cedric Clark swatted away by Delaney.
Denied.
And Neumann tripped up. Going back to that discussion about minutes, well, Rachel Bannon was one of those folks before the ACL injury. Timeout Johnson. Another professional that comes to mind, Maya Moore. Led the league in minutes played last year and still was the most efficient.
And she can go all day, and the Lynx have one heck of a player. She's arguably the best player in the world, you think?
Getting there if she isn't already. And perhaps a classic example, Michael Jordan, who was a symbol of durability. Not even the flu could knock him out.
No, nothing was stopping Jordan.
I mean, is there a modern equivalent in the NBA as far as guys playing a lot of minutes?
I don't see it. I mean, most guys can only play 40. You know, they play 40 minutes these days. That's a lot, but still, Jordan could go 46 out of 48 minutes.
Well, maybe not in a minutes per game scenario, but another symbol of endurance to me is San Antonio Spurs. I mean, they've had Tim Duncan's been there long before Facebook was created, and he still can contribute. And he's still winning titles.
Yeah, Tim, model of consistency.
People thought the entire Spurs roster was too old, and, well, not anymore after the win last year. Mobley drawing a foul, and maybe not a bad thing for Johnson stopping the clock. I mean, it's still early, but get a chance to maybe take a breath, as you noted. These players are putting in a lot of minutes.
Yep, a lot of minutes.
And Frank Delaney picking up his fourth personal foul.
That's going to be huge. But back to that.
Here comes Oturu. He's going to replace him.
Tim Duncan has made the playoff. What is it? 17 out of 18 years he's been in the league. The only year that he didn't make was the first year. So that consistency, that's unbelievable. The minute, the foundation has been built. And even though it's the high school level, Coach Simmons has kind of built the same foundation. Consistency, move the ball, spread the ball. It's not all about one player or two players.
Similar model here at Johnson. Mobley missing both free throws, though.
Swarming defense.
Cedric Clark taking advantage of Chris Perry's miscue. Well, there's one way to get 2 points out of the possession. Not at the line, but it's a 10-point margin again.
Johnson has picked up the intensity.
Gresham can't bank it. Oturu, count it.
There's that size. It's hard to get size.
Daniel Oturu averaging 5.6 points per game, a 6'6" freshman forward.
He's going to be a very good player. His potential's off the charts. He's relentless on the offensive boards.
4.4 boards per game, in addition to his scoring. Foul is on Andre Smith, his second.
Smooth stroke for a big man at the line.
You could not be more opposite in free throw shooting as in this one. Johnson 5 of 13, Cretin 7 of 8. And Clark throws it away. Although if Neumann had another step on it, he would have been gone for 2.
Unofficially, that's 6 turnovers for Johnson so far, unofficially. And only 2 for Cretin.
Perry has it at the top of the key. Now they go inside to Neumann. Neumann, late foul, and that's tough if you're Johnson.
Yeah, a little late, got the benefit of the doubt.
Cretin in the bonus now for the final 10:03. Foul is on Seachlag.
So it's free throws for the rest of the way for Cretin. If I'm them, I'm taking the basket every play.
1-on-1 scenario. Perry with the offensive rebound after the Neumann miss. Rosga to the rack. No. And Perry gets nothing but rim. But he stays on it and gets the steal. Neumann for 3. Bullseye.
That's a killer right there to Johnson.
Seachlag. No. Mobley, offensive rebound, goes back to the line, but as we've noted, Johnson has struggled converting from there today.
Yeah, they have not done a very good job of hitting their free throws. I would expect the coach to have them this week working on them if they're going to want to contend for the sections, and you got to hit your free throws. They're so important in games.
Well, and I spoke with the coaching staff beforehand, and they said Johnson, no, they're not where they want to be, and I think most coaches would say that at this stage of the season.
Yeah,
you don't want to be where you want to be in January and then fall off.
Exactly. You want to keep building and getting better as the season progresses, and usually that happens with the good teams. The players find their groove in mid-season, and towards the end of it, they're running like horses.
Well, Johnson, remember, number 2 in 3A. De La Salle, the favorite to win in state. They've won 3 in a row and could go to 4. We've seen them, of course, and De La Salle, very balanced and a very disciplined group, as we saw in their win over Morgan Park a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, they're very impressive. Their coaching is up to par with anybody in the state. I'm very impressed. They had a very impressive win against Morgan.
And Cretin-Derham Hall, you don't want to say they're a dark horse because, again, they started out strong, and they're not too worried about rankings. And at this stage, rankings, they're fun to talk about, but with the way the playoffs are structured, everyone is in their own sections. It's really hard to put too much stake in that. But as we've seen in the last few years, the 4A field in particular, a very wild one. Anything can happen, especially among those top 10 teams.
Yeah, we've seen some very thrilling games and upsets over the past few years. What a strong take.
Who got that one?
Number Joe Rosga.
I've called him Rosga. If it's Rosga, well, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing the name. No shot awarded to Parker. But, Champlin Park, number 1, and, they've got a deep group. JT Gibson, Theo John, Hopkins, they're always in the mix. Lakeville North has fallen off a bit after McCura graduated to Xavier, as Chris Perry picks up his 4th. Apple Valley back in the thick of it. They have some unfinished business after the upset handed to them by the Raiders. Mobley for 3. No. Oturu with the rebound, and I think Cretin having a little more depth, maybe a stronger sense of fundamentals, and that's wearing out the Governors here. Oturu clutches but can't post up. And of course, Johnson not a bad team. They're number 2 in 3A, and that's a much needed triple from Carlin Clark, but Johnson, they're going to have to hurry if they want to claw their way back. They're trailed by 15 with 8:23 to go.
I thought that ball was going to touch the top of the field house here. That was a rainbow.
Rosga
What a block
blocked by Murphy, but Oturu is there. Oh, he has really struggled at the rim today. Elliott trying to draw the foul, and he does.
That's how they got their money. Transition buckets by Johnson. They are so quick to the bucket. Disappointing finish on the other end. When you get a shot like that, blatantly wide open, and you miss it, you hold your head down, at least they're easy transition buckets.
Both teams in the bonus for the remainder of this game. Delaney goes back in. 8:06 left, that's a lot of time, but Klein perhaps sensing that Johnson could be on a surge. They complete the three-point play. Vern Simmons will call timeout. Eric Elliott up to 14 points. And Johnson back to 12. Still have a ways to go, but I guess going back to that 4A field a bit. Apple Valley with some unfinished business, and Shakopee had a tough loss against Apple Valley, but remember, they got to the semis last year and would have advanced to the championship had it not been for Amir Coffey's sheer dumb luck. That buzzer beater three.
Yeah, that was an unbelievable play. That you said sheer luck.
Well, I mean, that's what it was, because
it was.
Hopkins. That was really the only way that game was going to end, because Shakopee they weren't going to go man. They knew Hopkins wanted that. Hopkins knew Shakopee was going to lay back. Had Amir not made that three-pointer, well, there would have probably been a couple more overtimes.
Yeah, and when something like that happens, you're just you're sheer stunned. You don't know what just happened to you. What happened?
Shakopee got a comeuppance of sorts, beating Hopkins earlier this season, and Minnetonka, they've got some strong players.
Basketball in Minnesota has really picked up.
Roseville has Kobe Critchley, and that's a great, especially in the 4A field. You have the favorites, yes, but there's so much parity. I guess the trickle-down effect. We see it in college, we're seeing it at the high school level. You never know who's going to come out on top anymore.
Yeah, there's a lot of talent to go around. A lot of teams are starting to come around and show what they got.
And who can forget? Well, here we go. Mobley with the steal, coast to coast, and he gets the bounce.
If Johnson's going to come back, it's going to have to be their. They do have a leader, and it is Mobley. He's their leader.
They trail by 10. What a great feed from Delaney to Neumann.
What a finish.
Neumann with a little reverse flare, and he's up to 19. But Cretin cannot count the win just yet.
I'm very impressed with this kid. He's one of those players, you know, when you see a Blake Griffin, you know this kid can ball. He's a player that doesn't really necessarily look like he can ball, but he can ball.
Murphy going up, draws the foul on Delaney. Frank Delaney is done. Delaney disqualified. He'll finish with 2 points. And this is where Johnson could make a move, because that is Cretin's tallest player and a very strong post presence. Johnson, they've got an opportunity now.
Yeah, that's their rim protector. They're gonna have to ask the freshman.
Daniel Oturu, and Oturu's had some difficulty with the putbacks. Well, it's a cliche, but these situations, who's going to step up? This might be the question that faces Daniel Oturu now.
Yeah, he's going to be asked to do a lot right now.
7:13 left, still a lot of time. And Johnson making their subs as well. Clark and Smith are going in, replacing Carlin Clark and Savon Parker. And this goes back to Johnson's discipline. I mean, they're trailing by 16. Other teams might have folded up and said, well, we'll get him next time. Johnson feels, we can still win this.
Yeah, they feel that they're never out of a game, and that's back to coaching. He's instilled, embedded that system on them. We're never out of the game.
And a lot of this is improvisation. Vern Simmons doesn't take the same scouting protocol as some of his coaching peers do, because he just feels you're not going to play the same game twice. So you can watch these teams beforehand, but Cretin's not going to play Johnson the way they played North Scott or the way they played Champlain Park.
No, not at all. Every team is...
So you have to play in the present. And
a lot of times teams don't do that.
Rosga, no. Johnson saves it. They've got Smith if they can get to him. Well, not quite. They'll have to run a set. Murphy goes through, no. Elliott on the follow through.
They cut it down 10.
9 actually.
9. This is huge for Johnson. 6 minutes to go. This game is not over by any means.
No shot clock though, so Cretin does have that option. They can't get too careless though and play to it. Aanenson had a great look. Could not get the bounce. Smith cross court for 3. No. Foul. And a pair coming for Eric Elliott. But you're right, that was a very dangerous pass.
Yeah, could have been an easy turnover.
But I think Johnson understands they're going to have to play with a little more aggression if they want to work their way back. And comebacks, we've seen one already. St. Paul Central came back from a late deficit to beat Columbia Heights at the last possible moment.
And they finally hit their first free throw. That's been a problem for Johnson. It's in the first out of the 2. If they can start hitting their free throws, it's a good sign for them.
Or they get the offensive rebound and a second chance look, but Cretin-Derham Hall, 8 of 11, Johnson, 7 of 17.
7 of 17.
You think, even if half of those points go in, different story. Well, the block, but it goes right to Clark. And Clark fakes out Elliott. Not a good time for a turnover. But even if Johnson makes half of those free throws that they've missed, we're looking at a different game here. That being said, it's still within reach. Rosga to the rack. Got it.
Great finish. He was not intimidated by the shot blocker down there.
Traveling violation.
Back-to-back careless turnovers by Johnson.
And this could be what Colin Moore was alluding to when he said Johnson's still working to find that identity.
Yeah, they're always playing fast. Sometimes you just got to slow it down.
Vern Simmons will call a timeout, 5:34 left. And Simmons, a long-time associate of the Johnson program, and when he's not coaching, he works as their security officer. Was involved in the St. Paul Police Department for many years.
As many know, he's a police officer, and I played against his son, Sal Simmons, back in my heyday.
Sal was what, 5
foot nothing.
But
he could play.
But right, he was 5'3".
Yeah, he could dunk the basketball back in his day. I'm not really sure what he is up to now, but he was a heck of a player on the basketball court and as well as the football field. So his dad must have raised him up, from being a kid. Hey, you're going to be a ball player. I'm a coach, and he's still doing what he loves.
Well, not the first father-son coaching combination. Osseo, a few years back with the Teasons. Tim Teason and the head coach, and we were talking about parity. Remember, Osseo won a wild 2012 state tournament in 4A, winning on a buzzer beater over Lakeville North.
I remember that shot.
And that was after they sweated through a triple overtime victory over Hopkins in the semifinal round.
When sometimes Cinderella, it's just made to happen, and that was the case right there.
Tim Tyson and his son Ian, member of those teams. Wheeler Baker was a part of that group. Gresham for the dagger. Bullseye!
Huge shot for Cretin. This kid's been on point all day.
Well, if you looked at the scouting report, Gresham would be making a fool out of you, because remember, his three-point shooting not that high, but feeling it today. He's got 5 of them.
Yeah, he's been lighting it up. They've been giving him the space. Strong rebound. What a finish.
Justice Murphy with the cleanup.
Over and back. Careless turnover by Cretin.
How does that happen?
I have
Coming out of the baseline, I've seen traveling violations, but never over and back.
never over and back. Freshman mistake.
And Oturu's being subbed out. Cretin going to go a little bit smaller here.
And they give it right back to him. Oh, was that deflected? No, it is Cretin's ball.
No, that wasn't deflected. Eric Elliott slipped. Cedric Clark couldn't find a target, and we'll try another inbound play here. That's a foul on Elliott. Aanenson will shoot 2.
Strong take.
But if Cretin hangs on, this game is going to come down, I believe, to the discipline. Cretin just having a stronger sense of it, not committing the unforced turnovers the way Johnson has. That's what I feel this game has come down to. Cretin getting a handle on the unforced turnovers.
Yeah, they're staying very poised in their system, not trying to overplay it. They know their strength is not transition, unlike Johnson, so they're not going to play to the opposition's strength. They're going to play in their own game, and that's what a coach wants.
Here's something unusual. Jordan Ammons, who averages 9 a game, just got his first point.
Oh. That looked like it was out on a Cretin player.
And it looks like they're having a discussion. Kevin Anderson didn't see it, but the backside official did, and the call is reversed. Yeah, that looked pretty clear, though, from our vantage point, but that's why the officials haven't talked about it.
Yeah, they got it right.
They can't review it like we can, but that's the advantage of having 3 of them.
They got to get it right somehow. They did very good.
Well, a lot of these guys take it on because they themselves love the game and want to stay involved. Murphy going reverse. 10-point margin again. But Johnson in a perilous situation.
Yeah, they're getting easier looks. You don't want to timeout.
Cretin had 3 remaining. Now they have 2. 4:09 left, and they lead 73-63. Donnell Gresham, 23 points. Rosga with 19 and Neumann with 17. And those 3, they've been your key guys throughout this entire game. And those 3 have made a very good tandem for the Raiders.
Yeah, the 3-headed attack from Cretin-Derham Hall. They all could play. I'm very impressed with Neumann's IQ. As you alluded to, the point guard's got, 23 points, 5 threes?
Well, Gresham's not the point guard.
Shooting?
Gresham's not the point guard. He plays more of the shooting guard.
Okay, he's a little bit of combo, because sometimes I see him running sets.
And Gresham is no stranger to that, averaging 3.9. He's only played in 8 games this season, so his services were missing for a while, so you're seeing just the assets he provides when he's on the floor today.
Yeah, he's a very strong kid, very confident in what he can do with the ball.
That's why, among other reasons, you don't want to sleep on the Cretin-Derham Hall team, because they are just that dangerous. Do not let the rankings dissuade you.
No, not at all.
The 4A field, that's going to be a very tough one to call.
It's stacked.
I mean, even Hopkins proving their resiliency after Amir Coffey's ACL tear. We mentioned the other schools, Champlin, Apple Valley, Cretin, and maybe someone else swoops in. Cretin is not going to be in a hurry to throw up a shot here.
Dangerous pass. No call.
I didn't see any contact. That was a clean strip. Mobley, he runs into the wall. How in the world did Johnson get through? Eric Elliott. How did they save it? I think it was Carlin Clark who got it under the legs of a Cretin player, and Eric Elliott swooped in. It's an 8-point game.
And they got a gift right
Neumann
back there.
again. Oh, Mr. Clutch. Neumann with 16 points this half.
He's a cool, calm, collected individual.
Elliott with the answer.
Right back at you.
Johnson will use their last timeout with 3:08 left. This game's still not over. Well, if Johnson's proving anything, it's their resiliency. Sure, they made a few mistakes, but they're going to find a way to stay in these games.
Yeah, they're playing a very intense ball right now. Cretin makes a play, they're right back to answer.
Well, let's take a look at some of these games. Johnson, outside of a game against River Falls in February, they are pretty much wrapped up. They won't be doing all the remaining games are in conference, and they have been running the tables in the conference. Their closest was St. Paul Central, 52-44, but it looks like Johnson's going to attend another Twin Cities championship, as they customarily have, where we've seen some great rivalries over the years. Washburn a few years back, Minneapolis North in recent years. Cretin, they're not out of the woods yet in their conference. They have another meeting with Mounds View, the team that knocked them off. Eastridge, that was a close one. They've got Seth Green, the quarterback who's going to Oregon.
Are you talking about Seth Green from?
Yeah. Eastridge's Seth Green is a little taller. But he's going to play quarterback, and Roseville, you know, that's going to be fun. That was another close one. And Cretin has a big non-conference game ahead. That was nearly a travel. Neumann, pure again.
So deadly, this kid. So cool.
19 points this half. Elliott goes up to the rim, and a whistle.
Is that a delay a game, technical?
That has to be delay a game. Eric Elliott, though, let's not discredit his performance. He's up to 24 today. And Elliott,
he's had some huge shots for Johnson as well.
Well, and Elliott is one of those guys who's willing to step in. And a lot of these guys were strong defensively, but where Johnson, the coaching staff, gives them credit. A foul. I thought they got him on the 5-second call instead of foul before the inbound. Double bonus time. I was going to say, a lot of these guys were willing to take on more of an offensive role. You're seeing that with Elliott today.
He's really stepped up to the plate for them. They needed every one of his points they needed.
Joe Rosga, 19 points. Here's a stat for you. The last 6 field goals made by Sam Neumann are all 3-pointers.
When you get something like that, you know he's just on fire right now. He can put up anything, and he's going to hit it.
Cretin, 11 of 15 from the line. Rosga making both. That puts him up to 21. And a foul on Ammons. Well, that's a double bonus. And so, yes, Johnson may have, even though Johnson struggled to hit their free throws, it stops the clock with 2:44.
So you get to the line, you stop the clock, and you got a chance at 2 points. Exactly what you want for Johnson. The only thing better would be 3 free throws.
Or a 3-point play chance.
Or a 3-point play, yeah. Or a 3-point play with a foul.
Carlin Clark, averaging 5.9 points per game. And I love a game like this because now we get to see some strategy.
And it's where the coaching plays a huge part. Or even a bigger part than it has in the entire game once you get down to crunch time.
In both of these schools with a lot of success, strong coaching staff. Vern Simmons, among the winningest in the St. Paul City Conference, and Jerry Klein, no stranger to success over on Randolph Avenue. Cretin's going to play keep away. You know that much. They're up by 9. They don't need to rush anything. Johnson's going to have to force a steal, and they're not able to.
Johnson's playing zone, so Cretin can basically milk the clock.
That's really not, that's not the formation if you're trying to come back.
Not at all.
Don't forget that De La Salle Austin series of a couple of years, these last 2 years in the 3A championship. You're going to have to be a little risky here and try to get something. Oh no, a traveling violation.
He walked.
Jordan Ammons had the perfect setup. Cretin got them on the backdoor cut, and instead they turn it over. Johnson still has life.
That's a huge break for Johnson.
But can they make the most of it? 2 minutes to play. They need points, and they need them soon. They're looking for the 3 ball.
And he walked right back at you. That's how it's been for the last few possessions. They'll get a break, and then they'll just give it right back.
I think they were so eager to shoot the 3 ball. They looked a little stumped, and nothing doing there.
They're just thinking too much instead of playing. What a pass. The no-look pass. This kid can do it all.
Chris Perry a little frustrated with himself that he couldn't put it in, but he has a chance to close it out here. Perry hasn't scored much, just 22 points this season in 14 games.
Fans starting to clear out.
Perry, a 6'3" junior. And that should just about do it.
This Cretin-Derham Hall team has showed the Johnson that they were not intimidated from the tip-off, and they're a force to be reckoned with.
Lane violation, but it may be of little consequence here. If Cretin hangs on, they would go to 15-3. Johnson would fall to 13-3. Eric Elliott might have to come up with a new name for him. If Sam Neumann is Mr. Clutch, Eric Elliott is Mr. Clean. They force the steal. Mobley draws a foul.
He's very good at drawing contact. Initially, when he went up for that.
Well, let's not be in a hurry to get out of here just yet.
Just yet, exactly. He can hit these two free throws.
Or you'll end up like the Seattle Seahawks fans. To be sure, it wasn't like they were streaming out of there,
but nonetheless, yeah, with that finish like that.
A lot of Packers fans that I know still, it took them a while to recover from that one.
It's going to take them a long time to recover from that one.
Well, until next season. But I've been there with the Vikings Saints from 5 years ago, and
Vikings Falcons 98.
A few years before that.
That broke my heart, still breaks my heart.
Well, your team at least has won 3 Super Bowls.
Yes, the Washington Redskins. Yes, they have.
Granted, they've all been in the Joe Gibbs era, but hey, they're Super Bowls. And Mobley making both free throws. Here we go again. It's a 6-point margin. And this game is going to be settled at the free throw line, but Johnson still not out of this.
when it gets down to the crunch time like this, is which team can execute better.
And with the 2 free throws that Mobley made, Johnson at least got above the 50% mark from the free throw line. But now you send a sharpshooter there. Joe Rosga has made his last 4. That puts him up to 23.
That's 3 players with over 20 for Cretin. They're really showing out.
23 for Rosga, 23 for Gresham. And bullseye, big time 3, but Johnson has no timeout.
Huge shot.
Savon Parker with the second tray. Johnson's gonna, they can't get the 10-second call. They're gonna have to foul here. Well, Jerry Klein had 2 timeouts left, 44.2. Savon Parker, perhaps the biggest 3 of his season.
That was a huge shot for Johnson. It still gives him life.
Cretin with 1 timeout left, both teams in the double bonus. Johnson has no timeout, so they cannot stop the clock. Don't go anywhere. Well, we were talking about the big 3 for Cretin. 23 points each for Rosga and Gresham, 25 for Sam Neumann. Not quite the 39 we had last year against Bettendorf, but his 3-point stroke is on point. And entering today, Neumann, about a 40% 3-point shooter, so that is an option in his arsenal.
Yeah, he can light it up. He's more of a scorer, though. He's a very good playmaker. His IQ is off the charts. He makes all the right plays. He's always in the right positions. Makes very good passes. He's got a bright future.
And 19 of those points coming in the second. They go to the backcourt. And Gresham is fouled almost instantly. .7 seconds ticks off. The foul is on Smith, his 4th. It's been a characteristic of these Johnson games. I usually come here and we get a marathon, but it's the way they play. It's very aggressive, and the door's open.
That's a huge miss. Johnson has just been scrapping all day, and they're not giving up.
Well, this game certainly lived up to the billing that we got. A lot of folks making the trip down here. Wow! Gresham missing both. Oh, that was close. Johnson cannot afford a turnover now. A basket makes this a 1-possession game. Smith for 3. No.
Tip-in.
Elliott with another tip-in.
A 1-possession game, and they quickly foul.
They have to at this point with 26.7. You wonder if Johnson, if they cut down on the unforced turnovers, might be a different result here where they're not having to play catch-up, but you gotta love that grit. And even if they lose today, remember, it's against a 4A school, so it doesn't hurt them that much. And this will be a strong test because Johnson may have to go up against the likes of De La Salle in the state tournament round.
Exactly, you just pointed that. Johnson has showed a lot of fight and grit, heart. He's got to be impressed, win or lose, with his team's effort.
Well, I always say, as Rosga makes both, you have 36 minutes, make the most of them, no matter what the score is. Mobley scores. That puts him up to 17. And Smith is going to foul out there with 10.9.
And you got the right person at the line for Cretin-Derham Hall. This kid's money.
Rosga has made 6 in a row.
He's got a very good demeanor about his game.
And you wonder, again, the unforced turnovers, when Johnson had a chance to make a charge and then committing miscues of their own doing, this result might be different. But again, you have to love the determination of the Governor's team not quitting when they were down by 16. A lot of teams would get frustrated and let that overwhelm them. Johnson sees it as a learning opportunity, and they'll have a chance to regroup. Again, they have a very favorable schedule to end the season against the St. Paul City Conference. But getting a strong non-conference test like this is what prepares you.
Yeah, this is the games you want
postseason
to play. A very competitive game. You came back. You fought your way. Very impressive showing.
Johnson playing a lot of 4A schools in their schedule. Joe Rosga. Coming into this game, an 82% free throw shooter, and he's living up to that billing. Making his last 8 in a row. Cretin-Derham Hall, 17 of 21. And they'll hang on for the win. Mobley, that would have been inconsequential. The final score, Cretin-Derham Hall 88, Johnson 83. Cretin-Derham Hall moving to 15-3 on the season. Johnson falling to 13-3. But what a fun contest here on the east side of St. Paul.
Excitement from the tip-off. Both teams played with a lot of intensity, and they showed each other that they weren't backing down. What a game to call.
And Cretin-Derham Hall's three-headed monster comes up big. Donnell Gresham with the early jump. Sam Neumann with his barrage of threes, and Joe Rosga with the cool clutch free throw shooting.
Yeah, he was huge for them down the stretch, his free throws. Neumann in the second half just went bonkers with a three-point shot. He could have hit anything. There was nothing that he wasn't going to make today. Very impressive.
Sorry to jump on you. We'll try to get a word with a couple of the Cretin-Derham Hall players as they emerge with the 88-83 win. This is high school boys basketball. Mike Peden here with Cretin-Derham Hall's players of the game. Joe Rosga next to me, Sam Neumann to his left. And Joe, we'll start with you. 8 free throws in a row to close out this game. How do you approach each trip to the free throw line in a game like this?
I just don't think about it. I just step up there, shoot my shots, and make them.
After your back-to-back losses to Champlain Park and Mountain View, you guys have, lost only once, and that was a very close game. How did you guys weather through that? What do you think you learned from that adversity?
We just didn't want to lose anymore. It helped getting Red back, our distributor. It's really good having him back, and we're starting to find each other more and knock down shots.
And then how nervous were you when Johnson made their push and turned this into a one-possession game?
I wasn't worried. I knew we'd pull it out.
You've got a tough schedule here to close out, including a match with De La Salle, so how does this win set you up for that?
It's a good win for us. We just got to keep pushing, keep winning.
And Sam, you hit 6 3-pointers, 19 points in the second half. Well, we know you're capable of such big numbers, as you demonstrated at the T-Wolf Shoot and other venues, but how are you feeling it today from the three-point line?
Well, I missed like 12 in the first half, so it was good to get back on a roll in the second.
Well, you were due, I suppose. And then, of course, they were big-time three-pointers. When Johnson would push, you hit one, and that kind of got momentum back. So how did you respond to those Johnson runs?
I just got it, and I shot it, and it went in.
What does a game like this do to kind of help you guys prepare? Because, this Johnson, one of the top teams in 3A, and you've played a lot of tough teams this season. So what do they offer that will help you as you continue the season?
This is a little bit different pace than we've seen this year, so maybe it'll help us for De La Salle. I think a sort of different pace, different game, and we can be ready.
And, of course, you would love to get another shot at state, but any other goals you have or any other thoughts? This is your senior season. Next year you head to Montana State. What has the sport of prep basketball done for you?
It's done a lot. Really our only goal as a team is to win state, win conference, and other than that, that's all I got.
What about you, Joe? What has the sport done for you?
I just love to play it. It's a lot of fun. I like our team. We have a lot of fun messing around with each other. And, yeah, like he said, we just got to win the conference and then win state.
And last question, anyone you want to say hi to that might be watching this on Prep 45?
Shout out to my family and friends.
What about you, Sam?
Shout out to my girlfriend and my parents and Joe's family as well.
Got to make sure the parents are involved, or they might be wondering, hey, what's going on here? Thanks for taking the time to speak with us. Congratulations on the win, and hopefully we'll see you guys again in postseason play.
Thank you.
All right. Joe Rosga and Sam Neumann of Cretin-Derham Hall, thank you for watching our coverage here from Johnson High School. For Andrew Aanenson and the rest of the crew, I'm Mike Peden. We'll see you next time.